Hello, everyone. How are we doing? So this is the title of my talk, 1,000 pennies make $1, which is great, but we're in Canada, and pennies don't exist anymore. But that's okay. I still think it's relevant, at least to you guys. A couple years down the road, maybe not. When I was little, I made lists. Lists to Santa Claus, and lists of things to do. And now that I'm older, I make lists of assignments. But when I was little, I made lists to send to my dear friend, Mr. Claus. Lists with lots of things, and lists with few things. All of them had a theme. They were colorful, and made of crayons, and markers, and they had holly, and presents, and candy canes, because Santa Claus and reindeer were too hard to draw. On those lists, when I was younger, were items such as toys and books, and when I got older, clothes and games. But also on those lists were big ticket items. Items like making world peace, solving world hunger, and most importantly, saving all the kittens and puppies. Of course, I knew that I couldn't exactly do all of those things and that Mr. Claus couldn't deliver them under the tree. But I did wholeheartedly believe that someone in the world, perhaps even me when I got older, could do these items. I don't know exactly when that opinion changed, because nobody sat me down and said, you can't save all the cats and dogs. That tragic moment I would remember. Yet at some point, my opinion of being able to save all of the cats and dogs and to help all of the world's struggles changed to, I can't make a difference. Someone else can, but not me. This past September, I became a leader to Girl Guides of Canada Brownie Unit, an organization whose mission is to inspire girls to be confident, resourceful, courageous, and to make a difference in the world, which fits very well with tonight. There are 23 girls in our unit. They're not all there, but they're aged from 6 to 8, and I meet with them every Wednesday. We have a lot of fun. I learn a lot from them, and they, I hope, learn a lot from me. They remind me on a weekly basis that I'm getting too old to play tag. So last week, the theme of the night was careers, and it was my turn to plan. So in looking through all of the resources that I'd been given, one question stuck out. When I grow up, I want to be. This question, asked to us all of the time, still scares me. For as a second-time undergraduate student, I still don't know. And that was okay. But I felt a little bad asking these 7-year-olds what they wanted to do, because I still don't know. Anyway, I headed to Brownies, handout in hand, with this question on the top. I was interested to see what the answers would be. Thinking back to myself at the age of 6, I was obsessed with a certain book in particular called Susie the Snowflake. So much so that I wanted to be this when I grew up. I even changed my last name, if you ask anyone, to Anastasia Susie the Snowflake Smallwood. So, would there be any snowflakes in my group of brownies? Much to my sadness, there was not. We had teachers because their moms were teachers, and artists because they liked to paint. And then we had anesthesiologists and paleontologists, words that at the age of 6, I would not have known, and at the age of 23, I could not spell. And then we had one girl who took her page, drew a big circle in the middle, and made a big question mark. She didn't know. And I looked at her and I encouraged her and I said, it's okay, I don't know what I want to be either. But her answer is what surprised me most. For at some point, she discovered that she was incapable of certain things. When I asked her, she said, well, I'm not good at math, so I can't be an engineer. And I can't draw, so I can't be an artist. And I hate blood, so I can't be a doctor or a nurse. No longer did she feel like she could do anything she wanted to do. That, because of certain aspects of herself, she couldn't do anything she set her mind to, at the ripe old age of 8. Take a look at this word. Do you see what I saw at the age of 16? The loud, the outgoing, the excitable, the face painted, the blue and the white, the leaders of high school. Those who, when I was quietly walking through the halls, cell phone in hand, avoiding eye contact, would think to myself, they'll go somewhere, they'll be the change makers. They are the leaders. For my high school was not unlike many others, driven by popularity and cliques, everyone in a box, either liking it or trying to escape it until finally graduating. There were the sports types: basketball, baseball, soccer, lacrosse, swimming, tennis, you name it, they did it. You had the artists who were busy with band practices or orchestra or musicals or dance, and I was part of that group too. But then there was my group, who didn't really fit anywhere and kind of fit everywhere. Fitting into one box one day and not fitting the mold the next. Spending lunch hours outside of teachers' classrooms, being involved in events that were deemed too uncool to be supported by the leadership types. So one day, I decided that that was no longer okay. I was in grade 11, and I said, that's fine, I'm gonna be part of that leadership team. That was our version of student council. So I stood up in front of all my peers, quite a few more faces than here, but with my iPod in hand, gave my little rant, and played ABBA's Take a Chance on Me. I thought I had nailed it. A few days later, the votes came in. Boy, was I wrong. I came dead last. And it was in that moment of total rejection by all of my peers that I thought, I'm not a leader. I didn't fit the bill. I wasn't the loud and outgoing. I'd tried my best, but I had failed. Not you. I was not that leader. Flash forward a couple years to university. I'd started at the University of Prince Edward Island. I'd lived there about 4 days. Still quiet, still shy, attached at the hip with my roommate, attending orientation events because I thought I had to. You do, it's important. Shine Day had just ended, the biggest fundraiser for Cystic Fibrosis Canada's Shinorama campaign. Familiar to most students here at the Mount, and to hopefully a couple of others from other universities. Shine Day is fantastic. It's a day full of yelling and screaming and pizza and raising money, above all. But the not so fun part of Shine Day is the counting of the bills and change. And in 2010 in particular, $26,000 worth of bills and change. It gets a little crazy sometimes, such as this. The student union and the orientation team had assembled in the student union offices to count money. And they'd given a couple of us first-year students the honor, if you will, of counting pennies. We were separate from all of the more easily counted money, as it were, and away from the pizza, which still kind of bothers me. In the kitchen of a messy student union, the 7 of us sat, trying to get to know one another, but mostly just counting to 100, over and over and over again. It was then that my definition of a leader, someone who doesn't mind looking like this, came running into the room. He looked at all of us and said, "Hey, first years, my spot on council, it's open. Who's gonna take it?" My hand shot up. Like an autonomic response, like the beating of my heart or the breathing of my lungs, up it went. It took my brain a few minutes to catch up and go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Us? No, we're not leaders. We don't do this. Yet, I kept my hand up there. I survived the rest of my orientation week, a little worse for the wear, yet something in me had changed, and it wasn't just my ability to count to 100. It was that by being recognized as a peer, as being capable of doing anything I wanted, as being no different than anyone else, that I realized that I, too, could make a change on campus, or at least make that leadership group. I, too, could make a tiny change in my world. For if that big scheme view had been explained to me, I would have run to residence, packed my stuff, and never returned. If that orientation leader had come in and said, "Hey, you, In 6 months, you'll plan this whole event. You'll organize 150 volunteers. Oh, and in your last year, you'll be president of the student union. That was not even a big scheme. That might as well have been on Mars. Thinking about the small changes we make towards creating a better world, such as inspiring a first-year student to make a difference in the world around them, or encouraging an employee that they can do any task they're given, or as simple as listening to the answer of, "How's your day going?" As a past employer once told me, "You'll never get the job if at first you don't apply." The same applies to the workforce, to campus, and to everyday life. No difference is going to be made if at first you don't take a small step towards doing so. For it seems that in all of those years of putting up posters and attending meetings, doing what I thought was small things, focusing on the little changes, the things that I could handle, I became my own version of that outgoing, loud leader, making a difference in my own way, one small step at a time, and it's my hope that one day that little girl will realize that she can do anything she wants, saving all the kittens and puppies in the world if we just count pennies, not dollars. Thank you.